Doing in the
Good.
in there? Doing good?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let's see.
When it gets down to 15.
Right. So I'd like to welcome everybody to the Kalbach Shul. I'd like to thank the Kalbach Shul for hosting me. I'd like to thank Rabbi Naftali Citron. To thank Julie Bola, the board, Peter for helping out, everybody for coming. I just worked a 9-hour day and I get my brain working. So if I say anything silly, just remind me. This past week, the world was introduced to the God particle that was found by smashing the atom in the smasher in France. And the scientists came out with the God particle. It's the newest thing that they ever found, a new particle. It's in all the papers. So this particular lesson, I've been trying to give for 3 years. 3 years I've been trying to give this lesson, and I never had a chance to give it because it's a short lesson, but it's just packed with tremendous information. And the timing couldn't have been better because I was going to give this lesson no matter what happened. And then the same time I decided to give the lesson, I made copies, the God particle was revealed. So I felt that this was pretty close to what the God particle is. This was written back in 1804. Rabbi Nachman of Breslov said this long Torah on Shabbos Chanukah. And everything I'm about to say that has to do with this class is based on Rabbi Nosson Maimon's DVD audio. So I listened to it, and I wrote some notes, and everybody's going to help me. Hopefully, we'll learn it together. There's no teacher here. We're all learning it together. Okay, so now it's working. Oops. Okay, so this is in the middle of a very long Torah. In Breslov, they call them Torahs or lessons, and this is an interesting ideas in a short Torah, and if we finish this in time, we can learn another Torah. But this is incredibly explosive. Okay, so I'll start it, and we're on the top. So this is because everything in the world has its sparks of holiness that fell at the time of the shattering of the vessels. So what does that mean? Everybody, I'm sure, has heard that God made many worlds before He made this one, and the worlds did not survive. They exploded, and originally God made the light very, very bright. This is the Kabbalah 101. But it's the deepest part. God, why He did it. We can't ask questions why He did it, but He did it because He wanted to. It was His pleasure to build a world. It was His pleasure to give to others and to create a world. He just had a pleasure. So that's why this world, everything is related to pleasure in this world. Whether it's food, whether it's music, everything's based on pleasure. Because God had a pleasure. God created this world through pleasure. So that's one level. So I just want to give a short preface. This whole lesson is based on the shattered vessels. So I just want to look a little bit at the commentary. What is a shattered vessel? Look at the bottom on footnote 81. I'll just read it quickly through. When God created the supernal worlds, most specifically the world of Atzilut with its 10 Sefirot, He designed the original Sefirot with a built-in flaw, which is pretty interesting. God created a built-in flaw. A Sephira consists both of light and a vessel. Sephira is not a physical thing, it's a spiritual world. And they had a board meeting tonight, so they're allowed to, they're coming out. So God created this world through 10 vessels, you would say. kindness, severity, beauty, right? The 10 Sefirot. And each world consists of both light and a vessel. It says the vessel is a lesser light which acts as a receptacle with regard to the greater light. How are we doing? Any chats coming up over there? Okay. So God originally designed the original sphere, vessels as separate entities and capable of giving support to one another. Why? We don't know. That means that when we say sphere right before Shavuos, we say Chesed, Shebechesed, Chesed, Shebegevura. Before that, everything was separate. Chesed was separate, kindness was separate, severity was separate, everything was separate. And that's why it exploded, because they couldn't tolerate each other. So that's why in this world, as humans, we have to tolerate people or else we explode. And we can't tolerate ourselves. So we have to tolerate people. So the breaking of the vessels was the first, how should we say, lonely. There was a lot of selfishness in the original sphere. They didn't give to one another, they didn't talk to one another, they just went, I'm just for myself. As a result, when God created the original vessels, He filled them with a bigger light, and they cracked. Okay? So then Rabbi Nachman is very big on, so that's why in this world, when you want to receive something, the light has to be diminished. When you want to learn a very big concept, you can't take it all at once, you got to take it a little bit at a time. So it says in the original setting of creation, God originally created the first world, the vessels were overwhelmed by the light and they shattered. Hence the shattering of the vessels. Or a good example is when you drop a plate in the kitchen, it shatters, right? So that was the original breaking of the vessels.
Can I ask a question?
Please, you can help me out whenever you ask a question.
Where does he get this from? Where does
Oh, based on Arizal and Zohar, that's like 101, Kabbalah 101, the shattering the vessels.
No, I mean, I've heard it also, but I don't know what it's based on.
Oh, it's all Gemara. It is. There's one Gemara that says God created worlds and God destroyed worlds. I think it's the only place written in Gemara. And
This isn't the Chumash in the verses. Toho vavovo.
oh, then God created. There was confusion.
Nothing.
Right. And then God created confusion. So the Zohar and the Kabbalah are commentaries on the Chumash, and the commentaries on the Gemara. So how did they get the commentaries? So the Arizal brought it down. Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai brought it down. How did they bring it down? So Ruach
That's what I
HaKodesh.
want to know. Like, where does this come from?
So
shattering of the vessels.
oh, so the Arizal is the first one I think to bring it down. We can go into
What
the
is he
sources.
basing it on?
Great question. Write your questions down.
And you don't know what the answer is.
I don't, because it's actually have to look at a page number and you got to go into a chapter. You know what I'm saying? I don't have that. I don't have that info. I'm not that smart.
You are that smart.
No, we're gonna just try to follow Rabbi Nachman's teaching. We haven't even started yet. We're just getting a basic overview. Okay. So after these things broke, God said, "Okay, let me make them again, and let me redesign them." I'm just reading here what it says. Let me redesign them. Look how cool this is. He's going to design them that they could contain and filter the light. So when the vessel shattered, this is a very interesting part of it right now. When the vessels broke, these parts of these vessels, spiritual, fell into the world, all the lower worlds, because God only made the high world and everything shattered, and all the light fell into the three lower worlds. We're the lowest of the three lower worlds, and that's why the job of people is to do good and to gather the good that's in the world and not give into the darkness, but to gather the good sparks and the light. So every time we do a mitzvah, we're gathering another spark. So let's keep moving. Okay, so then when Adam and Eve ate from the tree of knowledge, which is many. What does that mean? They ate from the tree of knowledge. Many reasons what that is. It caused even more problems with those sparks. The sparks became even harder to get to. The goodness in our lives is hard to get to. We have to work for good things very hard. The reason why things are not so easy in life is because Adam and Eve didn't do what they had to do. So that's according to the Kabbalah.
Never understood that completely.
Right. That's a separate issue.
Yes.
Presently, man's mission is to gather these sparks and to elevate them to their original level by means of Torah study, prayer, and performance of mitzvot. So that's like Kabbalah 101. Does that make sense?